The college football experience, Toledo Rockets 2023 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Networks, brought to you by our very own Patreon. Yes, score exclusive perks, content, and contests, including our NFL win totals contest with the $1,000 prize up for grabs. Join today, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Once again, that's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app to get last-minute tickets at the lowest price guaranteed. Use the promo code SGPN. Use the promo code CFBX for $20 off. CFBX for $20 off. And remember, as always, to let it ride.
Hey, what's up, you degenerate gamblers? This is Bill Burr, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, baby.
Yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience. Toledo Rockets 2023 season preview episode. I'm excited to talk Rocket ball. And look, if you're watching on YouTube, hey, you should get over there, subscribe, youtube.com/the college experience. Rocket from Studio B today. Yes, Ryan Real Money Kramer, the Sports Gambling Podcast, is doing a 24-hour draft, so make sure you check out the Sports Gambling Podcast because that's fucking insane. But, yes, I am here at Studio B, which I promise you is not my bedroom or my parents' bedroom. But, look, folks, we're talking Rocket football, all right? And I'm excited. Look, they won the MAC a season ago. I think if you had to, if you've covered, if you've watched, if you've been a fan of MAC football over the past 20, 30 years like I have in my life, I think Toledo's the best school. If you had to quickly say, what is the best football team in the MAC? What is the best brand as far as you can count on them to be a pain in the ass week in, week out? I would say the Toledo Rockets. But I have a guest, and if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see that. But first, you're probably wondering who the hell I am. And look, my name is Colby Swig at Database Dan, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. I would have killed a normal man, but no, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
Yes, I'm excited to talk Toledo Rocket football. I mean, how many great coaches? Well, there was Matt Campbell, whether it's Tim Beckman, Gary Pinkel, Nick Saban. All have been, and Jason Candle, maybe you put right up there. I'm curious to get the take on the on the Candle, not Campbell, era. And folks, I mean, look, I am honored to be joined by this guy here. He is the host of the CSC Podcast, Maction All The Time. Give it up for Toledo grad, if memory serves me correct, Alex Shear. How you doing, Alex? Appreciate you making time for us, man.
Hey, man, I love being on this show and talking Maction, and finally we had to talk about my school. You mentioned all those great coaches, but you omitted the great Frank Lauterbur, the GOAT of Toledo coaches, in my opinion. But we really excited to talk some Toledo football, and there's some great history at this program.
Hey, and look, if you're watching on YouTube, folks, he's got Toledo jerseys on the wall, helmets on the wall. Alex, I forget if you told me you're a married man or not, but either way, is that a conversation? Is that one of those things where like, okay, well, you can have that over there, but that's my area of the house. With those helmets, that's my area of the house.
I am still on the dating scene, but any BG grads out there, go ahead and swipe left on me. Don't waste your time.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, Alex, great guy. Ladies, go out there and hit up Alex, because let me tell you, I can attest to this because I have been plenty of times in my life out on dates. Now, I'm married now, but I'm saying, and to me, if they come to your house and they question your stuff, whether like me, I have several football, basketball items, then they're not for you. They're not for you if that ever happens. So just for food for thought. If anyone out there listening is in the dating world, all right, doesn't matter how beautiful they are, doesn't matter whatever, best personality, who cares? Who cares? If they're gonna give you shit about the stuff on your wall, it's not worth it. All right, just take it from Dundee here. Take it from Dundee. Who knew this Toledo episode was going to turn into Dating 101? But Alex, you do a great job on your podcast, and folks, you should give it a follow at College Sport Pod because he covers the MAC. This guy was at MAC Media Day. I mean, he's covering the MAC through and through, and it's not just football; it's basketball, it's everything, really. So I appreciate you making time for us, man. And I know you are a Toledo grad, so we should just say. Everyone bet the over. This is the end of the episode, right? I mean, I know coming into
national championship. We're
look, but this is a great program. This is a program that, and you'll be able to tell me better than my memory. I remember a win at Arkansas in the mighty SEC,
2015 in September, 16-12.
I remember that win. I want to say I remember. Was it Pitt that you got in the early 2000s, or am I thinking it's at Ohio?
That was Pitt in the early 2000s with Larry Fitzgerald. Yeah, so there's
should have been Notre Dame. Should have been Notre Dame, right?
Should have been Notre Dame, but we did get Michigan in 08, and I want to point this one out really quick. There's a little bit of importance because people talk about not impressive. Michigan was terrible. Toledo went 3-9 that year. We fired our coach at the end of the season.
Damn, and he got a win in the big house. That's a tough fire right there. You said, look, I had a tough year, but we won it in the big house. You can't take that away.
Great guy, but yeah, it was time to move on. But you get a win at Michigan. I mean, he's got wins at Minnesota, Kansas, Iowa State. That you mentioned the Arkansas one. Like, there's been some great wins in Toledo history.
Yeah, they are like, to me, like I said, I wasn't saying that to cater to you because I know you're a Toledo grad. I honestly believe that, like, that's probably number one. And I'm curious because I would go at least in the past 20 years, like Toledo 1, Northern Illinois 2 would be like the way that I would imagine.
I would almost put Northern Illinois 1 solely because of the BCS games. They made like 7 of 10 conference championships in the 2010s. Like, Jordan Lynch was a Heisman finalist. I mean, you talk about what they did. I mean, and Toledo and NIU, just constant rivals, and that's really heated up because both have been so good. So that's been a lot of fun to kind of be in the middle of. But yeah, there's been a lot of, I mean, I would say Northern Illinois and Toledo 1A and 1B.
Look at that honesty. Alex Shear just saying, hey, you know what? They'd probably be number one. Look, I can appreciate that. That's why you need to check out the CSC podcast. All action, all the time. All right. Well, look, Alex, I want to get your take first off before we have to get a ad read in on how you feel about the Jason Candle era. I mean, obviously, you just won a MAC championship a year ago, so I don't want to say, I would be shocked if you're saying bad things, but I'd be curious, just in general, though, has he exceeded expectation? Has he maintained expectation? Talk to me about his era.
If you listen to Twitter, which I don't recommend ever doing, but if you listen to the folks on Twitter, Jason Candle is the worst coach Toledo's ever had because we have not won enough MAC championships. We've won 2 in his 7 years there, but we should have won every single year. I respectfully point to the Matt Campbell era and the Tim Beckman era where we didn't win a single MAC championship. As Jason Candle's done some really good things. Prior to Jason Candle winning it in 2017, we hadn't won one since 2004. So,
And didn't he turn down the OC from the Miami Hurricanes to stay at Toledo? I mean, come on, folks. I love this guy already. All right. I mean, I'm ready.
I love loyalty, and I love what he's done. Last year, that was his message to the team. He was like, I'm going to come back and we've got unfinished business. And they went and won a MAC championship. Now, I think that to some degree, expectations have not been met. Toledo, I think, overall is a much more talented team than what wins and losses have reflected. That being said, I love Jason Candle. I think he's the right guy for the program right now. And I'm really excited about what they could potentially do this year. I think this is a really potential special season.
Someone asked me the other day why the MAC has, in their eyes, not mine, been down lately as opposed to 5 years ago or so, 6 years ago, and maybe even longer than that when Northern Illinois was and Western Michigan were having their New Year's Six appearances and stuff. And I said, I think it might be coaching stability because the gap has gotten bigger between the power schools and the group of five, which is, I think, terrible for the sport personally. But also you can just have coaching cycles where you just, don't make the right hire, or you do make the right hire, or something like that. But I think it's kind of a soup of all of that. But either way, I feel like, when you hear that he's coming back and turns down Miami and turns down other opportunities, I love that, because that's the college football I grew up on. Like when I first started becoming a fan of college football in the late 80s, early 90s, it seemed like every coach had been there like 15 years, 10 years, and you didn't always jump to the grass is always greener. And now it feels like every coach, it's really rare. I feel like, so kudos, and that has me rooting for the Rockets this upcoming year. We're going to talk more about Toledo. We're going to talk about the offense, the defense, the special teams. We're going to grade the transfer portal, which is such a huge factor in college football in 2023. We're also going to go game by game on the Rockets schedule. But before we do that, I want to tell you folks out there that the College Football Experience Toledo Rockets 2023 season preview episode is brought to you by Game Time. Yes. Look, buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful. Now, if you're like me, where I always will go. Like I was in Missoula once, Missoula, Montana, doing stand up, and everyone around the town's talking about this big Montana Eastern Washington game going on this weekend. And so I was like, well, I love college football. I know Montana's got a good program. I know Eastern Washington's got a good program. I got to get myself to this game. Well, this is 2010-ish, something around there, 12-ish, and I'm just searching whatever platform. I can't find tickets for anything, right? And then I'm asking people at the bars, at the clubs, and I'm like, hey, anyone got an extra ticket? And it was just a huge pain in the ass. But I was like, I gotta go. I ended up paying like 3 times the amount of what that ticket should be. But it was very stressful. And look, Game Time is there to relieve that stress, because Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. Look, with killer deals on last minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll be having. Look, and forget planning months in advance, all right? Come on. I mean, what's that going to get you, all right? Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for what? Football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. And get this, the Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. This is absolutely fantastic, in my opinion. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, get this, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. That's called getting it done right. Now, snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem that $20 off with the promo code CFBX. Download the Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right. We are back on the College Football Experience Toledo Rockets 2023 season preview. I'm here with Alex Shear, host of the CSC Podcast. All Maction all the time. And look, all transfer portal all the time. That's what coaches are screaming. Coaches are screaming, saying, this is just a little too much for. I mean, you saw it in college basketball. You think it's ironic that like Roy Williams, Coach K, Boeheim, Jay Wright, Bob McKillop at Davidson all said peace out. No, I know why they said peace out. They're like, I'm in my 70s. I gotta text my team every night to make sure we're all on the same page. We gotta do a group call, and it's the off season. All right, I'm over here in Barbados having cocktails, and I gotta touch base with my starting wide receivers just to make sure we're still cool. Yeah, that's the transfer portal, and it's absolutely crazy, but that's the game. That's what's happening right now in college football. We got to touch base on it. Short of Army, Navy, Air Force, and strangely, Clemson. Everyone else, it's like the 405 freeway. So, departing the Toledo Rockets, as we try to grade this right here, we have offensive tackle Lavelle Dumont heading out to the Rice Owls in Houston, Texas. Who are jumping up to the AAC. Wide receiver Demir Blankumsey heading out to the Memphis Tigers. Yeah, right. That one. Do you think that's an NIL thing? I know Memphis has that FedEx money. Do you think
it might be an NIL thing? I mean, I think last year, he played. I want to say he played all 12 games. He had a lot of things going right for him last year. He really took a step forward. And I think, I wish him the best. I loved watching Demir Blankumsey. But I think maybe part of it's NIL. I think, with the Wild West that is the transfer portal, why not take a shot at what else is out there? I think he's going to have great opportunities down at Memphis. I wish him nothing but the best. But of the departures, this one I think hurt me more than anybody else.
Gotcha. So make note of that, Memphis Tiger fans, if you're listening to this one. Tight end Zach Person is in the portal. According to 24/7 Sports, there's no home yet, but some of these guys have landed at places, and not to completely shit on 24/7 Sports. It's hard to keep track of how many players are in the portal. So, running back Lammy Constant also in the portal, and then wide receiver Mikel Barkley heading out to the Fresno State Bulldogs. Is that a substantial loss, you think?
That is, I don't think it's a substantial loss. He dealt with a lot of injuries 2 years ago. Last year, he didn't do much. He did play in the last couple games of the season. But this is his third transfer. Like he's been all over. And I think he was at TCU prior to Toledo. So that this feels like nothing new, but again, it's part of the whole Wild West that is the transfer portal. I really enjoyed watching him play. I think he's a solid player. He started at I think he started all the way at a community college, if I remember correctly.
Wow.
And then to TCU, then to Toledo, and now out to Fresno State. So, again, I wish him the best, but this one it doesn't feel like as big of a loss. Similar to Jordan Lowe, the running back. He also they don't feel like big losses. It hurts depth, of course. I think that's the big thing, but they don't feel like massive losses to me. Okay,
so Mikel Barkley to Fresno State. He's part of the circus. He'll be next year. Who knows where it'll be. Then we got long snapper Benjamin Lisk. He's in the portal. Mm-hmm. Safety Jalen Mines. Tight end Caudill. Probably butchering your name, Clay. My apologies. But in the portal, haven't landed anywhere according to 24/7. Same with linebacker Nicholas Days. Do any of those names stand out as key players that we should say, man, that's a bummer?
I feel like Toledo got really lucky with the with this transfer portal departure. Ben Lisk, the long snapper, I think that one does hurt. He snapped for 14 games. He didn't play when he was a freshman, but when he did start, he did give Toledo all he had, and I think he did an excellent job. Something of note, he's walking on at UNLV.
Oh, interesting.
So he went from being starter to walk on, which, hey, again, if there's an opportunity for you, I support it. I think athletes should get to do what is best for them to do. Jalen Mines, again, he was, I think he was a 3-star. He was a top 50 safety out of high school. But again, a lot of these names, I think Toledo got really, really lucky with departures and not really losing. They lost a lot of depth, But you didn't really lose much with starters, sans Demir Blankency.
Yeah, and so what left out. Incoming is
some talent.
Yeah. Well, you got 4-star transfer defensive end Travion Ford. 24/7 Sports giving him a 4-star ranking. That's not a recruiting ranking from high school. That is one leaving in the transfer portal. Defensive end from Missouri in the SEC. That is a substantial get, I would think. And also 4-star offensive tackle Rod Orr from Florida State. Well, these guys, I would imagine, will be starting right away, correct?
I have to imagine so. The Rod Orr, Trevon Ford, and then I want to say it was who's the other one?
Jackson Cannon, the offensive tackle from Mississippi State, right?
Those are going to be some big boys. I mean, you're getting 2 former SEC and an ACC player, and they all come in with at least 3 years of eligibility. Jackson Cannon comes in with 4. So I think this is going to be really, really nice for Toledo, because these are guys who are going to be able to come in and just, hey, let's get to it. I think they bring valuable things from their schools to Toledo, but they're also going to learn a lot while they're at Toledo, and I'm really excited for all 3 of them. Yeah,
and I think because of that, you have to say they definitely won the portal. I know they lost a couple wideouts, but they seem to still be strong in that area.
Well, and they picked up a couple wideouts as well. Jalen Doughton from Penn State and Don Munnerlin from Rutgers.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. So they were able to work the portal really well. And I mean, I don't know. I don't see why a MAC championship, should be the expectation yet again. Let's talk about it. The offense a season ago, 45th in scoring offense, 47th in rush offense, 74th in pass offense, 53rd in total offense. Curious, were you surprised at being 74th in pass offense? Did you think coming into the year last year you'd be a better passing team?
So I had my reservations on our passing. I think Dequan Finn is an excellent dual threat quarterback. I know when I was down at Toledo versus Ohio State last year, Toledo marched right down the field on their opening drive and scored on a passing touchdown. Like, Toledo looked pretty sharp. The defense gave up 77. The offense still put 21 on the board. And through the first 6 weeks of the season, that was the most anybody had scored on Ohio State.
Interesting. Yeah.
So, I had my reservations on the passing ability of Dequan Finn because he's been so excellent with his feet. I think as the season wore on, he got better. I'm excited to see him take another step forward this year because I think he's got really good arm strength. I think he had the game against Kent State. He accounted for, I want to say it was 6 touchdowns, 5 through the air, if I remember correctly. So he can sling it. It's just a matter of controlling the urge to want to just run right away when things break down.
And he's got 2 more years of eligibility left. So I think people, looking back, he was a sophomore last year. So you won a MAC championship as a sophomore. That's impressive to me. You also have Tucker Gleason back there who's got some burn as well. The quarterbacks, you got to be happy with the quarterback position, correct?
The quarterback position is going to be very, very strong this year. Tucker Gleason, fun tidbit about him. He filled in. He started when Dequan Finn was out for a few weeks. He had a broken hand in the Bowling Green game and still came out and played. Toledo was almost down to it was ridiculous. Toledo was almost down to their 3rd string quarterback and still just kind of humming along. But I think that was also the thing, keeping the quarterbacks healthy. If they stay healthy, I think Toledo probably finishes 7-1 in MAC play and not 5-3. And I think that was a big part of it as to why, Toledo kind of stumbled down the end, losing 2 of their last 3 against MAC opponents before the MAC championship. But with a healthy Dequan Finn, a healthy Tucker Gleason, I think you're going to get a lot of opportunity to see both these guys on the field at the same time. And that's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, and 8 starters back on offense. Now, that's a little bit of an asterisk there. 8 guys that have started college football games. That includes some of the portal gets, but quarterback position looking really good for the Rockets. running back situation, Jaquez Stuart and Micah Kelly. I think you got to be happy with. I mean, the running backs seem loaded as well, right?
Running backs are loaded, and I'd be remiss if I let you omit my guy Peny Boone.
Okay,
that's another guy who I think could really do some stuff, and he's a running back out of Detroit, Michigan, and if I remember correctly, he transferred in from Maryland.
Correct.
And last year he had that's what I thought. I thought it was either Maryland or Rutgers, but yeah, I mean, last year he had a great year. 116 carries, 443 yards, couple scores, but nobody really seemed to take control. You talked about Stewart a little bit. It just felt like this is a very balanced backfield. Like, hey, we need a little bit more finesse. Here, Stewart, we need a little bit more rumble. Here you go, Peny Boone. Micah Kelly, you can do a little bit of pass catching. So it was very nice to kind of have that constant rotation. I mean, you've got other guys too, like, Willie Shaw, who I think he can do some nice things. This is a really, really good running back room, and I'm really excited to see all of them take another step forward. There doesn't seem to be a lot of weakness. I think Peny Boone is the best pass blocker of the bunch, purely because he's also the biggest of the running backs. I think, that gives him an advantage. But I mean, this is a really solid running back room right now.
Yeah, and it appears to be the whole offense. Let's talk a little bit about the wideouts. Devin Maddox is back in the slot. This is a guy that had 11 starts a season ago, I believe 548 yards of offense. And then Jerjuan Newton, who was second team All-MAC a year ago. I mean, I get it. You guys lost a couple guys, but they're returning those two. And then the fact that I know they're excited about Larry Stevens and Thomas. Oh, man. Zsiros, I think it is. Zsiros. Okay.
Yes.
Is this a unit? Yeah, I know you hit on the couple guys that left in the portal to Fresno and Memphis, but should they be at the same level, you think, as a season ago, if not better?
I think overall, losing guys like Demir Blankensee, that hurts, right? I think Demir was a great part to this, three-headed dragon for the wide receivers. Devin Maddox, he really leveled up last year. But you talked about Jerjuan Newton. I really love what this kid brings to the table. He's fast. He is very much a team player. And you look at his numbers and just kind of what he's done in his career at Toledo. Last year he had, 830 yards. I mean, this is a kid who comes out, he balls out, and he's been loyal to Toledo. He could have left after last year, and I wouldn't have blamed him. I think he's a great wide receiver. But last year he really exploded with 53 catches, and he's got one last year left. I'm really, really pumped to see what Jerjuan Newton does. I think he's going to have a really, really good campaigin. And you talked about my gosh, Devin Maddox. Yeah. This kid, I think he was a transfer portal guy, if I remember correctly. And no, he was not. I apologize. He's been at Toledo his whole time. We lost Matt Landers 2 years ago from the SEC to Toledo, went back. We rotate our wide receivers. It feels like it's a whole thing.
That's college football in 2023, man.
But Devin Maddox, between him and Jerjuan Newton, I really don't think you're going to see much of a step back. Thomas Zsiros, he had a great catch against Ohio State for a touchdown on that opening drive. Junior Vandeross, I think he's going to do some really good stuff. A kid that I know won't contribute as much, but I'm excited for him and what he's going to be able to do this year. Adam Beal. And the only reason I bring up Adam Beal is I watched him receive a scholarship. Barstool helped present it, and he received a scholarship for his final year. And I love those kind of stories. I know we saw it with the Eastern kid. Getting a scholarship.
Fantastic. That was fantastic. Yeah.
And so I love those things. But other guys like Larry Stevens gonna bring some good stuff to the table. You talked about the transfers. This is a really, really good offense. Thomas Zsiros, he kind of plays a hybrid tight end wide receiver. So he does a little bit of both. he's got the size to do both. That's for sure.
Well, and that's something that might be pivotal because Jamal Turner's gone.
Yeah, that's a huge loss.
I know that from what I can tell, Lenny Kuhl is a guy they're counting on, but losing a tight end that had 8 touchdowns a season ago is a gigantic loss. Maybe Zsiros, or how do I
Zsiros, yeah,
Zsiros, yeah, can figure that out, or maybe help out in that area, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you talked about Lenny Kuhl, the tight end. I mean, he's 6'5", 245. He's a sophomore from Germany.
Wow.
And I think that's cool, right? And I want to say he had a couple good catches in the bowl game against Liberty this last year. And I like what he does. I think he's going to bring some good stuff to the table. But this offense is going to be really good. The offensive line, if they stay healthy, this is going to be easily the best offensive line in the Mid-American Conference.
Yeah, let's talk about that. 4 of 5 back. Well, 4 of 5 have been starters in college football. Mm-hmm. Nick Rossi, obviously, first team all MAC left tackle. That's always the best that you can have also with the left tackle. Vinny Scurry. They also have Kendall. They seem to be a little deep, too. I know you touched on injury, but bringing in the South Carolina transfer, bringing in a Mississippi State transfer, bringing in a Rutgers transfer over the past couple of years. And then you're only breaking in a right guarded Tyler Long, who's a senior who's also started 19 games. So, I look at this whole offense, and like you said, that definitely stands out as the best offensive line in the MAC. I don't see a clear-cut weakness. I guess maybe the tight end position. If you had to pinpoint one weakness, just the fact you lost Jamal Turner, and you gotta find out who's your next guy. But that's a good problem to have to me if your weakest thing is the tight end.
I think that's a really good problem to have. I do think, and this is where I hesitate on what the offensive line is going to do. If I'm going to be very honest and very critical, last year, the beginning of the year, we lost 2 of our 5 offensive line before the season started. So it was kind of plug and play. When I spoke to Jason Candle at MAC Media Day, he talked about bringing over a defensive guy to play center last year. So it just, you talk about Tyler Long and Nick Rossi, getting those guys back is huge. Having those guys available. I want to say it was Devin Rogers was the guy who flipped positions, if I remember correctly. And if Devin, if you're listening and I'm wrong, call me out. Shoot me a message, whatever. But this is an offensive line. If they gel and they gel well in camp, this is going to be a really good offensive line. I hesitate to say they're going to just come out and just do it, because I don't know how some of these pieces are going to mix and match, especially with the transfer guys.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that as a schedule, because the first game on the season is one of the best defensive lines in all of college football. But let's talk about the defensive side of the ball, because a year ago, you have Vince. How do I pronounce his last name? Is that Karras?
Vince Karras, the former Mount Union head coach, the son of legendary Division III Mount Union coach Larry Karras.
Classic. He did a pretty good job. Yeah, he did a pretty damn good job a year ago. 54th in scoring defense, 56th in rush defense, 12th in pass defense, charting at the 17th best defense in America. Unbelievable job a year ago. They returned 8 on the defensive side of the ball. And get this, folks, they're not transfers. It's 8 players from a year ago, so there's no asterisks next to it. There's nothing. Defensive line, though, is the area that I would circle as the most uncertain. You bring back, great name here, Judge Culpepper, the nose guard spot. But you are counting on Adrian Wolver and Darius Alexander to step up. Mm-hmm. Wolver's played in 25 different games. He's never started. I think he has 3 starts in his career. So there's that. That seems to be the biggest area, because get this, every other spot, really, the whole secondary is back. Mm-hmm. The entire secondary. Zachary Ford, Maxon Hook, Chris McDonald, Quinyon Mitchell, Nate Bauer, all back. I know Bauer played the star linebacker spot, but they're breaking in one new linebacker in Daniel Bolden, because Dallas Grant is back. He was first team All-MAC a season ago. I mean, I guess this one, though, it does seem, even though you bring back 8, it seems like the clear-cut unknown is the defensive line. Would you agree to that?
Clear-cut unknown is very much the defensive line. You talked about Judge Culpepper and what he's going to have to bring to the table. I think he's going to have to really step up, and I don't think that that's going to be an issue for him. I want to be clear on that. Trayvon Ford, coming in from Missouri, that's going to help anchor and take some of that pressure off of Judge Culpepper. Darius Alexander going to do some good stuff, I think. And I'm just looking at these guys. I as much as I think it's the weakness, I don't think it's going to be as bad as what we might expect, only because Jason Candle is very smart and went and found some guys in the transfer portal and said, "Hey, this is going to be an area of weakness. Let's go get some guys."
Yeah. I mean, everything. This seems like a team that's just really complete. Now you are breaking in a new kicker as well, or a guy. I guess he was 2 for 2 on field goals a year ago.
Yeah.
In Luke Payak, or Payak. But you also have a Kick Dundee punter, Jonathan Batsk. I could be butchering that, but he's from Australia, so he is a Kick Dundee, and I can never fade a team with a Kick Dundee. All right, let's dive into the schedule here, because I am very curious to see
That's
your
part
thoughts.
of the show. Let's do it.
See how honest you are regarding your Rockets.
I already told you 15-0 with a national championship, man.
I hope you're right. I would love for you to be right. Folks, before
I'll win a
we
lot of money then.
yeah, exactly, right. Folks, before we break down every game on the schedule, I want to tell you that the Toledo Rockets 2023 season preview is brought to you by the Sports Gambling Podcast Patreon. Yes, sign up for the Patreon to get exclusive access to, exclusive contests. Just double exclusive. This sounds like a Seagal movie. Look, NFL win totals contest, $1,000 first place prize on the line. And besides the season-long contest, we also have weekly contests just for the patrons, plus a monthly SGP Stories podcast, completely ad-free and full of behind-the-scenes stories from SGPN. There's even a Discord channel just for patrons. Only you can prevent corporate gambling, so do your part and sign up today. SportsGamblingPodcast.com/Patreon. That's SportsGamblingPodcast.com/Patreon. And I'm quickly, we're back on the college football experience, and I'm quickly trying to locate, because, see, I normally do this in the main studio here. And I have a graphic that will be made with the win total, right? Okay. Some of the problem is, though, and no disrespect to our graphics guy, he's fantastic, but sometimes when you're doing that, if he makes the graphic like 6 weeks beforehand, which in many cases he'll send me like 30 at once, the line can move. Mm-hmm. So if enough bets are placed on it, the line moves, and then here I am just over here sounding like an idiot talking about. So I just want to, before I spew out this number, I just want to fact check that.
9.5.
9.5. So it hasn't moved. Okay, so that's good news if you've bet this thing. So looking at the schedule, week 1. So first off, 9.5. Your first reaction to that would be, I know you're a Toledo grad and a Toledo fan. Over, I think, would be mine. Just judging, just us going through the team like we just did, mm-hmm. I would say, okay, I think this team is primed for another MAC championship. So why would I take the under? I think that certainly 10, 11 games is certainly possible. So my first reaction would be over. Yours?
My fan reaction is, again, over. My logical reaction, knowing, and again, I love Jason Candle, and so please don't hear this, but I do feel like occasionally he has come up short in big games. You talked about Notre Dame 2 years ago. I feel like a couple play calling things were questionable towards the end. Mostly I blame the refs, as every good fan does. But I feel like there are games we shouldn't have lost that we've lost. San Diego State last year. They couldn't score on us all game, and we give up 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. So it just, or maybe I think it was 10 points, but I feel like we've lost a lot of games in the last minute of games that we had no business losing. So I hesitate to hit the hammer, the over as somebody who knows this team and this coaching staff. Maybe this is the year they put it all together. I hope it is. I really do, but I hesitate to say over.
Well, I can tell you what's good is the Ohio Bobcats, the team that Toledo played in the MAC Championship that returns their starting quarterback. Remember, Rourke could not play in the MAC Championship. They're not on the schedule. So there's that. Also, looking at last year's non-con, you had Ohio State and San Diego State. Now, you do have San Jose State, but let's be honest, the first opponent on September 2nd is Illinois. And I am bullish on Illinois this year, but they're not Ohio State. So it is a much more winnable game for the Toledo Rockets. I would argue both because you have San Jose State coming to the Glass Bowl here. Week 1, you're going to be at this game, right, in Champaign?
I'm going to be at this game. I'm excited. It's my first game at Illinois. Really, really looking forward to it. I like Toledo in this one. I think overall the Toledo offense is better than the entirety of the Illini defense. It's going to be a lot of shotgun formation, I think, because that defensive front is nasty. But I also think they're breaking in a new quarterback over at Illinois. They're trying to figure stuff out with their offense. I think Toledo's got a better defense than what they have offense. Toledo also received more votes than they did in the first top 25 poll. Ooh. This one's going to be a good game. I know the spread's 9.5 in favor of Illinois.
Oh, give me the
Even
points.
If Toledo doesn't win this, I'm hammering that spread because I really think Toledo will cover that and possibly win it.
No, I think you're right. And, it's funny. Someone was asking me week 1 upsets, what could you see happening? I could totally see Toledo winning this game. Illinois, loses Chase Brown, loses DeVito / Shatowski. I do think they got better at the quarterback spot, but with them getting better also comes DeVito was good at taking care of the ball. He barely threw interceptions. Yeah. He didn't stretch the field by any means. And I do think whether they go with Paddock or wherever they go with the Ole Miss transfer, I do think they're going to stretch the field a little more. So in one way, I think the Illinois team might be a little more dynamic than a year ago. But I can tell you this, the defensive line is really fucking good. And that's my concern. I give me the points all day. I think this is like a 3-point game personally. Sure. I'll take the Illini, but it would not shock me at all if Toledo wins this game. And I think this is certainly one of the ones that people should get their eyes on because I think this is going to be a game. Fourth quarter, 10 minutes left. I expect this thing to be a 1-score game. Yeah. I'm going Illini just because honestly, it's because of the line of scrimmage. Like, even though I think Toledo's good on the offensive line, I just don't like Illinois. I'm hearing that they might have 2 or 3 players drafted in next year's NFL draft on their defensive line. So that's where
they're going to have a top 5 defensive line in the country this year.
Yeah, that's scary to me. But maybe you can neutralize that. Get the ball out hot. It'll be interesting to watch, folks. So I got them 0-1. You got them 1-0. Texas Southern comes to town, an FCS school in the SWAC. I think Toledo should win big against Texas Southern. Yeah. Any chance you? Okay, yeah. So 2-0.
Toledo hasn't lost to an FCS program. You know what? I don't even want to say it because I don't want to jinx it. But it's been a long time. Toledo, whenever one comes in, I feel like there's kind of this perception that FCS and G5 are very similar, and I can understand that. So I feel like it's a more natural competition for Texas Southern than it is for Texas Southern to go play Oregon and pull off that upset there. There's a lot more emotion with that. With Texas Southern Toledo, yes, it's an FCS versus FBS, but it feels a little bit more, similar.
Well, I got them winning this, and this, by the way, this game starts off 4 straight home games. Gotta love that. The very next week,
September's great.
Very next week, Brent Brennan. I got a chance to interview him, and I was, it's funny. I'm going to take Toledo to win this game, but San Jose State comes to town on September 16th, and that's one of the benefits of going to media days is I was able to sit down with the coaches in the Mountain West. And when I interviewed Brent Brennan, I did come away thinking that he's a lot more confident in his team than I came in with. So I do think San Jose State's going to be a bowl team and perhaps in contention for that Mountain West championship. But if this was in San Jose, maybe I'd hesitate. Being that it's in Toledo, Ohio, I have the Rockets winning this one. What do you have here?
Yeah, this one's going to be a great matchup. San Jose State's done some great stuff over the years. I like Toledo in this one. It's not the home opener, but it's the first home night game. Night games at the Glass Bowl against a quality opponent, they're special. I think Toledo will win this one. You're going to have the home crowd behind them. Get that late fourth quarter push to go secure the victory. Toledo starts 3-0.
Oh, and I'll push it to 4-0 because Western Michigan, even though, I'm kind of thinking they might be better than I think. They went out and hired Lance Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
I just think you want to get first-year coaches in September.
Yes.
Right? And that's why, and it's a home game. I got Toledo taking down the Broncos of WMU. What do you got in this one?
So Toledo's licking their wounds a little bit after the loss last year, 20-14. Lots of offensive issues. Not going to be the case this year. I do think Toledo pushes this to 4-0 before taking on their big rival Northern Illinois the week after.
For homecoming, September 30th, and this is the one. Yeah, this is the one I think that is it jumps out to me on the schedule. For in MAC play. I know there's some other tricky spots, like the Eastern Michigan game or Miami, Ohio, or the season ender. But this is a huge one to me because I think Northern Illinois getting healthy, this is a tricky one. I still think the fact it's at the Glass Bowl, give me Toledo to get it done. What are you doing here on September 30th?
This one is honestly a coin toss. I think Northern Illinois is not going to be as good as they were 2 years ago when they won the MAC championship. I do believe that they'll be much improved off of last year. Toledo embarrassed them at their place last year, like just flat out embarrassed them. Quinton Mitchell had 4 picks, 2 pick sixes. They remember that. They know that. And I mean, I think they were pulling guys out of the stands to play quarterback in that game. It was a bad time, but they remember that. And they don't want to lose again like that. So this is going to be a close game. I hate saying it. I see Toledo starting 5-0.
I got them 4-1, and you could if they get that Illinois game. Wow, could you imagine that storyline? Because I think Illinois got a chance.
I think you win that Illinois game, Toledo starts to get ranked.
Yeah, for sure. Now, here's where it gets tricky, though, and I don't mean the fact that they're playing UMass. I mean the fact that they're on the road 3 straight weeks. It's kind of unheard of in college football. It doesn't happen to a lot of teams. October 7th at UMass and Don Brown. I do expect Don Brown to have UMass better this year. Now, better still means you're losing to Toledo, but I just think they'll be a little more competitive than they were in year 1. I got that as a win. You?
Yeah, I mean, this is a win. You look at what Toledo's done against UMass, even when UMass was in the MAC. Like, this is not, it's nothing to look at. Toledo's 6-1 against UMass all time. Toledo hasn't lost to UMass since 83, or since 76. Sorry.
Okay.
So, and that was a 2-score game. And then 2 years ago, last year they played them 55-10.
Wow.
I see Toledo, heading into Muncie undefeated.
I mean, yeah, what a season this could be. Now, going into Muncie, October 14th, not going to get Muncie out in the middle of nowhere, are you, Toledo? I actually think Toledo will win this, but I do think Ball State's better than what people think, and I think this could be a very scary game. Wouldn't surprise me if Toledo won on a last-second field goal, something like that. So I have them sitting there at 6-1 to start the season. How about yourself in Muncie here?
I hate saying it. I really do, because I feel like I'm jinxing the team every time I say something. I have them 7-0, man. Ball State, the loss of Carson Steele is huge.
Yeah.
I think, you get the transfer in from Kent State, and I think that really supplants the backfield. The loss of Carson Steele, they were very one-dimensional. Not that John Paddock didn't do nice stuff, but you knew who the offense was. If they can get the offense figured out and they can stay healthy, Ball State's going to be a formidable opponent.
For sure.
Toledo undefeated after this one.
Oh, fantastic. And then October 21st comes, and this is where the puck stops for me. 3 weeks on the road is 3 weeks on the road. I don't care if you're Alabama. I don't care whoever it is. I mean, Alabama would never, they barely play 2 weeks on the road, and they're like once every 10 years, they play 2 weeks on the road. 3 weeks on the road. I got Miami, Ohio, and Chuck Martin getting a ranked win here, perhaps against the Toledo Rockets. I just think the toll of 3 weeks straight on the road, it's gonna either Ball State's gonna catch them or Miami, Ohio is gonna catch them. But I got it as Miami, Ohio. What do you got happening on October 21st here?
So this is one I've stood by for a while, and I'm going to stick with it because it goes into my prediction later. Toledo wins at Miami. They have not played each other since 2011. This is the first time in 12 years they've played each other. Partly due to UMass coming in and leaving the conference, COVID,
right?
UCF coming in and out, Temple in and out. Give me Toledo in this one.
Okay, then you get 10 days rest, and Maurice Lindquist and the Buffalo Bulls are coming to town on Halloween night. I expect a little bit of regression for Buffalo this year, and I still think they'll be solid, a dangerous team each time you play them. Cole Snyder's Pretzels is still the quarterback, the former Rutgers transfer, but I got Toledo winning this. I got them bouncing back and winning a Halloween game, so I only have them with 2 losses. Remember the win total we had, what was it, 9.5? Is that what you said?
9.5, yeah.
Yeah. So they can't afford another loss for me. What do you got happening here on Halloween?
I think they scare the Bulls back to Buffalo on Halloween night, and they secure the win, and then the last 3 weeks get fun for me.
Ooh, so you got them going into November undefeated, and now they have Chris Creighton in Eastern Michigan. I'm a big Chris Creighton fan, and I favor Toledo here, but I know this game could get crazy. Mm-hmm. I think Eastern Michigan's a player this year. I will still take Toledo to win this game. So I still have 2 losses. I'm still on the over. What are you doing here at the Glass Bowl on November 8th?
This is where it gets tricky because Eastern Michigan is going to be great this year. The last 5 years, Eastern Michigan's won 2 of these matchups. 2018, they won 28-26 in Ypsi. And then they won at the Glass Bowl in 2021 for the first time since, I'm looking at my numbers here, since 1999.
Wow.
Toledo has played really well at the Glass Bowl against Eastern Michigan. I like Toledo in this one.
Oh, yes. And then comes November 14th, Tuesday night. Oh, man, the rivalry is back. Toledo at Bowling Green. I mean, the I-75, Battle of I-75. I'm not that high on Bowling Green, and I know rivalries are rivalries, man. But So you throw out the record books. I'm taking Toledo to win at Bowling Green. I still got them on the over thus far, but there's still 1 game left. What are you doing here in Bowling Green?
Toledo's livid after last year. The Falcons came in, I think they were like an 11-point underdog. You came into Toledo, you beat Toledo at Toledo on national television. Barstool Sports was there doing their Barstool Sports college football show. Toledo's out for blood, and I think they get it. I think Toledo swells to 11-0.
And now the bye week comes on November 18th. I have them at 9-2. 9-2. Then bye week, and then so if you have them 11-0, a lot of pressure coming out of the bye week. as they head to Mount Pleasant, Michigan to take on the Fire Up Chips and Central Michigan. I don't know. I told you the story already on one of our other previews. Somehow I got emails from
Jim McElwain.
Jim McElwain, like addressing Central Michigan alumni. I think it was just a fan that just forwarded me the email. I don't know, but I'm kind of buying into Central Michigan being a lot better this year. Now, does that mean a lot better? Like they will beat Toledo? I don't know, but I could see Toledo losing this game. Talk to me about what you got happening here on November 24th.
So what happens on November 24th sets the tone for what happens the week after. Partially because I think Toledo, looking at the schedule, this is my heart saying this, I really do believe Toledo has a chance at an 11-1, 12-0 regular season. That being said, I think they beat Central at Central. You've had a long break. You get Thanksgiving. You get time to recalibrate and find a way to stay focused. So I think they finish 12-0, and then you get to Detroit.
I love it. This is these hot takes you're getting here on the college football experience. Look, I like you, Alex. I gotta say, if I had to wager, I think I would lean under, just because I feel like Central Michigan, Miami, Ohio, Ball State, I think there could be 2 losses there, and then you throw in the Illinois game. Now, do I feel good about this? Not at all. Like, I feel like I would not bet this with my own money. Like, I feel like Vegas
with my money.
Yeah, I'll bet with your money. There we go. I feel like Vegas nailed the number, because to me, it's like if I have Illinois winning in a close one, which, like I said, I could totally be wrong there. I don't feel very confident with my play. I also just think 3 weeks on the road, years of watching college football tells me there'll be a loss there. Now, you could argue, well, UMass, does that really count as a week on the road? I don't know. But
that travel still takes its toll on you.
Yeah. So I just think there's going to be 2. And then it's like, can they? I don't know, man. I feel like if I had to, I would lean 9-3 a little bit more than I would 10-2. But if they win the Illinois game, all bets are off, and I think you're looking very good to potentially have that undefeated season, because I think they'll realize the magnitude. I don't know. So who you got them playing in the MAC championship?
Well, that's where it gets interesting. I have them rematch with Miami, similar to the 2004 season, where Toledo lost in the regular season to Miami and then beat Miami in the MAC championship. I think the reverse is going to happen. Toledo's going to win the regular season matchup, but then they'll lose in the championship.
That would be heartbreaking, man, because I
know.
I'll tell you this.
Believe me, I know.
if you are right, let's say on November 14th, they beat Bowling Green at Bowling Green and they're undefeated at 11-0. I will personally purchase Toledo gear, because I will be the biggest fan in the nation. Well, besides you, but I'm saying at least the biggest fan in California. How about that? Rooting for the Toledo Rockets. Man, but I pray that doesn't happen, because I want them to go undefeated, man. That would be fantastic. I want a perfect season from the Rockets. So he's on the over. I think if I had to choose, I would say 9-3, but I don't feel good about this one. This is not one I would say, a lot of these episodes I'll be like, go bet this right now. This is one where, like, if you told me they're 11-1, 12-0, look, Alex is saying they're 12-0. I don't even think it's that foolish to think that. I think it's a great schedule. I think the only thing that makes me hesitate is the 3 weeks on the road in October. That's really what does it for me. So I'm on the under. He's on the over. Folks, before we get out of here, I had a chance to sit down with Michael Barker, a.k.a. College Football Campus Tour, to talk about his experiences to the Glass Bowl. And, folks, let me tell you, if you're in the Ohio area or traveling, get yourself out to a Toledo football game, because Michael Barker, he sold me on that. So with no further ado, here is that interview. Joining me on the College Football Experience Toledo Rockets 2023 season preview is none other than Michael Barker, a.k.a. College Football Campus Tour. Yes, what you're probably saying, what is that? No, get over to Twitter or X or whatever the fuck you want to call it, at CFB Campus Tour, because Michael is a must follow if you love college football, because he goes to like 5, 6, 7 games a week Yes, I repeat, 5, 6, 7 games a week. He's been to every single FBS stadium. That's 133, folks. He's also been to a lot of the FCS. He goes to D2. He goes to D3. He documents it all. It is awesome. It is a must follow. He does the photo of the game. He'll show you cool seats within the stadium, statues, all this good stuff. It's a must follow. Michael, I appreciate you hopping on the show to talk about the Toledo Rockets and the Glass Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. You got me excited now. I'm ready for the season. I'm ready to travel, and this might be my favorite MAC stadium. The Glass Bowl is awesome. So let's get into it.
Yeah, I'm looking at photos right now. I've never been to this stadium, but I know me and you share the fact that we love Maction. We love weekday college football. We think it should be played 7 days a week if we could, 24/7. Yeah, I mean, this is one I haven't been to any of these MAC stadiums, but this is high on my list. If I was to go to, if you told me right now I have a free ticket to a MAC stadium, I think this might be my answer. So tell me about the history of the stadium.
Yeah, so it was built in 1937. Original capacity was 8,000 seats, and it was named University Stadium. Following World War II, the stadium underwent a renovation, and they used glass elements in the renovation. And glass is a big industry in Toledo. And after the renovation, after World War II ended, they renamed it the Glass Bowl in 1946. In 1990, it underwent an $18 million renovation project where they added a 3-story press box, 45 luxury seats, athletic complex. The current capacity is 26,000, but it was a little bit bigger. The record crowd was 36,852 versus Navy in 2001. And a cool fact, I mean, there's a lot of cool facts, glass in the stadium, but I love in 1961, they acquired a 1-ton rocket from the U.S. Army, and they put it outside the stadium, and it is aimed at the 50-yard line of Deutsch Perry Stadium, which is their rival Bowling Green.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I need to get to the stadium because you're winning me over. And I was about to just go in. I didn't know that. I was about to go in saying the name Glass Bowl sounds amazing. It reminds me of the classic stadiums that we like it, whether it's college football or NFL, that sometimes, all of a sudden a corporate sponsor gets slapped on there and it's gone. They haven't done that. It's still called the Glass Bowl. I love that name. It gives it personality. And then you tell me that? Oh, I'm booking my ticket, man. I got to get there. How many times have you been to the stadium?
So I've been there for 2 games. Of course, they were both Maction weeknight games. The best one was actually last year. It was versus Ball State. It was a 28-21 victory. Their quarterback, Dequan threw for 301 yards and 3 touchdowns. And it was cold and it was fun and there was a good vibe. And Maction is special, like you said. And so the cool thing about Maction is that these games pop up all the time. I've been to 2 games at Toledo. I've been to 3 games at Ohio. I'm going to do my 3rd game at Miami of Ohio this year. So Maction, these stadiums, 1937, we're talking about almost a 90-year-old stadium. So I think you have a good choice as far as which one you would go to. I think this is right up there. I would say 1A and 1B is Glass Bowl, and 1B would be Peny. So they're both great.
Absolutely fantastic. I need to get out there. Folks, and you need to get out there to Twitter and give Michael a follow at CFB Campus Tour because he does great work. He does the photo of the game. A lot of times we'll talk about the history of the stadium, show you shots of the stadium, from back when it was first created to now. Absolutely fantastic work that you do, Michael. I look forward to seeing the travel schedule. And I'm not actually talking about a schedule, but just the fact that you're going to be bouncing around from city to city throughout the college football season like you always do. And, man, you do great work, and I hope one day we can catch a game at the Glass Bowl, man.
Yeah, this is, if we want to have the hectic travel schedule, you got to get these weeknight Maction games in, and it would be awesome to check it out with you. So hopefully we can make that happen.
For sure, man. Our best wishes on the season, the travel, all of it. We look forward to documenting it. And, folks, get out there. Give them a follow at CFB Campus Tour. Thanks again, Michael. Have a wonderful day.
Yes, sir. You too, Colby. Thank you.
Michael Parker, the Glass Bowl, man. I got to get out to the Glass Bowl. You have a crazy – you're pulling a mini college football campus tour here, Alex. Tell the fans what your plans are for the college football season, because I think they all should check out the CSC podcast, and all Maction all the time apparently is what you're going to be doing. But tell the fans about it.
So I created my travel schedule, and I'm going to 18 games this fall. Every single game is going to involve a MAC school. I'm hitting up all 12 MAC stadiums. I'm capping it off with the MAC Championship in Detroit on December 3rd. Couple road games, obviously starting the season off at Illinois. But yeah, most of the rest of the season, it's going to be MAC schools playing host and just trying to catch what I can. And I'm really, really excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. I've got it all mapped out. Got my travel partners ready to go. They're ready to saddle up and hop in the car with me, but it's going to be a fun fall. 18 games. This is the most ambitious I've ever done. But then, of course, Michael over at CFB Tour, he does like 18 games in a week, like whatever.
Well, dude, I mean, come on, 18 games is fantastic. And look, shout out to that, and shout out you. I love how they're all MAC games, like involving a MAC team, because we love that. I feel like, I know I'm going to sound like the guy get off my lawn here, Clint Eastwood, but I don't care. The MAC, the Sun Belt, the Mountain West, I like the regionality of those conferences. They remind me of the college football that I fell in love with. All this other stuff where you have conferences, spread out all over the United States, it drives me crazy. So I urge people, if you're listening to this, if you're in any of those MAC states or even on the outside of them, if you're living in Minnesota, what are you doing? Hop over there, support a MAC game on a Tuesday, Wednesday night, because, I think they have the true heartbeat of college football within them. So he's on the over. I'm on the under. Folks, make sure you check out the CSC podcast, as I alluded to, and give that a follow on Twitter at College Sport Pod. And give myself a follow on Twitter at the Colby D. And the College Football Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN, as we break down all 133 college football teams. A solo podcast for every single team in the land. We give the same amount of attention to Akron as we do Alabama, and I think that's the way it should be. So check out all of those. And folks, also I host the FCS College Football Experience. We love college football on all levels. That goes down to the NAIA level. So, but check out the FCS College Football Experience. I think you'll dig it as we break down every conference before the first game kicks. Also, the College Basketball Experience. We love the MAC, all right? But also, every night of the college basketball season, I'm talking college hoops, so check us out there. Also, the College Baseball Experience. We got them all now, all right? Those are all separate podcasts. There's even a Big 12 experience for any Cincinnati Bearcat fans listening to this, or whoever in the Big 12. We come together as one on YouTube, youtube.com/The College Experience. Check out the Sports Gambling Podcast, all right? Maybe you're a Bengal fan, a Cleveland Brown fan. They're going through all 32 NFL teams, so check them out as well. Doing a team previews, talking about the over, the under, all that good stuff as the season's right around the corner. Get the SGPN app. It's free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. And also, come in the Discord and talk Maction with us. Because, and by the way, when Maction starts on their weekday games in November, not only should you be listening to the CSC podcast, but I throw out Maction Tuesday, Wednesday night episodes, just talking about those games, highlighting those great games. So check that as well. Folks, until next time, this is the College Football Experience, Toledo Rockets style. You better start thinking about yours, and we out of here.
Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And the whole team's cooking and the whole world's looking with the cameras. Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And you know what you're getting.